Hey, everybody, welcome back to Latino Free Minds. This is episode number 10. We're glad that you're here with us, tuning in. We took a little bit of a break. We had a lot of busy stuff going on at work. Day-to-day life kind of gets busy, but don't be afraid. We're still at it. How you doing, Danny?
Doing good. Yeah, just a lot going on, but glad to be doing another one. Um, it's kind of hard to remember the last one that we did because it seems like it was so long ago. But we're talking to Art from the Border Patrol,
Yeah.
and I thought that was a really good conversation. Unfortunately, we had some audio issues that might have made it like hard to listen, but there was a lot of good information on there. We got some feedback that a lot of people learned a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get to talk to him in the future, or other people in the same position that he's in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I enjoyed that conversation. I thought I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It did have some audio issues at the beginning, but like I think halfway through it, we figured it out. So just, if you haven't listened to it yet, just tough out the first half and then it gets better towards the end. But, he does provide a lot of good info and, hopefully, like you said, we're able to have him on again. I think we will,
Yeah.
Art's a real cool dude. And speaking of that, just to kind of, how could I put it? Just kind of stick to the Border Patrol real quick, since we're kind of talking about the last episode. What was crazy was how recently the Border Patrol, I think in San Clemente, did a truck, pulled over a vehicle stop, right? Already in the United States. And they found a truck with 232 pounds of fentanyl, which, according to the reports, was about enough to kill 50 to 51 million, I think, Americans. So here's the report from Yahoo. Border Patrol seizes over 800 pounds of fentanyl between ports of entry since October. So that 800 pounds includes a recent bust in Southern California where Border Patrol found 232 pounds smuggled in a vehicle during a traffic stop in San Clemente. 232 pounds is reportedly enough to kill 50 million Americans. Like, just think of that. Like, 50 million Americans. That's crazy to even say, right? That amount of fentanyl got through the border. And, if you listen to what Art was saying, he was saying that there's a lot of what they would call getaways. And, this is, to me, it's a perfect example, right? Because it's already, as you can see, 75 miles into the United States. And luckily, they did that traffic stop and found all that. But it's crazy how such a deadly drug is just getting in those quantities.
And that's only one that they got. Imagine how many they don't catch.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about the amount of drugs they get through. So as we're being distracted with all the different images from the border, and they're sneaking this through, we got to keep our focus on what the real issue is, and this is part of it right here. This is the real issue right here.
Yeah, and then if you do the calculations, 800 pounds, that, according to what I just did real quick, could kill 172 million Americans. There's, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like about 350 million Americans. So, I mean, it's obviously we've all seen and heard of fentanyl and how deadly it is. They got the billboards up where, or in some places where they have a penny and a small amount of fentanyl and says this much is deadly. So it's crazy that it's getting through, right? And the other thing is, this fentanyl stuff, a lot of it, as far as I understand it, comes through, Chinese makers. They come to Mexico, make it or show people how to make it, and then they leave, right? So then you have the Mexicans or the Latino drug smugglers or mules or whatever. They're the ones that bring it over, and they're the fall, right? Because then you see that and you go, yeah, why are these guys bringing all this stuff in? And it gives the blame sticks to the person, right? But we got to realize there's other factors involved, other people involved in getting all this deadly drug into this country.
Yeah, we can't be naive. Criminals are going to be criminals, and what we're being told in the news. Uh, it's a distraction. There's a people benefiting from this. It's not just Mexican Latinos that are benefiting through this or causing this problem. It's just what's the best way to put it is they're going to choose to come in through the path of less resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no resistance in the southern border. Guess what? That's where everybody's going to come through. These criminals are really good business people. They're masterminds when it comes to doing business. So they're gonna figure this out. They're gonna choose the path of less resistance and come in through there. Period. That's all it is. And again, we can't be naive. We can't fall for the same story over and over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's a lot of, yeah. I think that you put it right. There's a lot of people that are naive to it. For example, Myra Flores. She's the one that used to be in Congress. So she posted a video of basically Border Patrol kind of chasing a truck and catching some smugglers. And I commented on it. Shout out to the Border Patrol for all the work that they do. And you get people that in my mind are they're ignorant, right? They'll comment or they'll reply, F you and the Border Patrol, or Mexicans taking down Mexicans, like just naive, ignorant, whatever you want to call it, like type of comments, right? And it's like, well, if you look at it from that perspective all the time, then yeah, you're always gonna think the Border Patrol is bad. It's literally a video of Border Patrol catching someone doing something wrong. So It's like, it's not just because they're Mexican, it's because they're breaking the law and they got caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's them enforcing the law. They need law and order.
That's literally their job.
Yeah, it's like if I go into someone's house and I'm breaking in and a Mexican cop or Mexican American cop arrests me, what are you going to
say? Exactly.
It's like, I'm doing the crime. I should be arrested. I should be caught. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing with just to kind of talk about Myra Flores real quick is she's born in Mexico. So she came over here. She's like the perfect example of the American dream. She made it all the way to Congress,
Wow.
And it's crazy. Yeah, that's super awesome. But it's crazy because she made it to Congress, and at the time the Democrats had the majority. So she couldn't even get into the Hispanic caucus because she was a Republican and not a Democrat. Like, think about that. Like, most of the real ignorant, ignorant stuff that I've seen is from liberals that are so about their party that I think they forget what the hell they're supposed to be like rooting for, right? Because Myra is the perfect example about everything they quote unquote say. You know what I mean? And for her to get to Congress and then treat her like she's unwanted, like, to me, that's her story is so it's an awesome story, but it's funny how when she got there, how the Democrats really started to treat her and how they talk about her. It's crazy.
It just exposes how phony they are. That's all it does. It's like they should be rooting for her.
Exactly.
They're going to be putting anybody down because of their, ethnicity or anything like that. Is that whether she's in their party or the opposite party, it's a success story, and it doesn't have to. It just it's mind-boggling, to be honest with you.
It's
It just makes me scratch my head literally because it
like I said,
people are using gaslighting like as a term now. That's gaslighting to the max right there.
yeah, yeah. Because like I said, that's the perfect example of the American dream. She's
Yeah,
born in Mexico, comes here, makes it to Congress. Like, boom. What else could
yeah. I told you I was listening to this interview about Tito Ortiz, and he
Yeah.
said something very similar. So, his last name is Ortiz, okay?
Mhm.
And when he went into the octagon, he did carry the Mexican flag with the American flag, like on the opposite
He had
side.
both.
Yeah. So when he was running for consul member, they started calling him because of his views, conservative views. They called him a white supremacist, and it's like it's the same thing, with Myra
Yeah.
Flores. It's like, but it's even worse with Myra because she was actually born in Mexico.
Yeah.
So it, it's like I said, it just exposes their ignorance, uh, their
Their
fake.
logic just does. Yeah. The fakeness, the logic doesn't add up because they should be cheering for, Myra getting into government, Tito
Yeah,
getting into government because they're, again, they're all about it. Right. But when you're not the right kind of Latino, Hispanic, whatever, right? Then their true colors come out.
yeah,
But if
yeah.
you're one that just kind of sticks with everything they say, then you're the right kind, I guess. I don't know. Not the right kind of.
You got to follow the rules to be in their team. So
But yeah, but speaking of Tito, because he was one of the original what do you call it, UFC champions. And then Kane, that's Mexican.
oh yeah, yeah,
Now they have three. So hey, if you got pride in Mexico and all that, they got Brandon Moreno, Yair Rodriguez, and Alexa Grasso. Three Mexican champions now. But that's random. That's a
yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Um, let's see. Oh, the what do you call it? The big one, the Rona. What do you think about everything that's been coming out about that recently?
I don't know, man. It's kind of like a big fat "I told you so." It's that was the bullhorn, the politicians, everybody like all out, pushing their agenda, whether it was true or it wasn't true. They went all
Mm-hmm.
out pushing it. And for all the people that were called conspiracy theories, got canceled, shadow banned, fired. I mean, you name it. I imagine how many family members, stopped talking to each other, how many divorces it caused. Um, there are just so many things that happened because of this. Deaths,
Mm-hmm.
that were unnecessary. A lot of people committed suicide, can't handle the stress of everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The kids in the schools, how they.
yes, the kids in the schools and everything. Um, very, very sad. And the only thing that I can hope for is, for everybody that got called the conspiracy theories, now it's a conspiracy fact again, another conspiracy
Again,
theory that turns into a conspiracy fact. Um, but I hope if you weren't awake pre-COVID, post-COVID, with this news coming out, hopefully you're waking up, or you have family members that are waking up now.
Yeah, especially if you're somebody that stopped talking to people, let's say because somebody was saying, "Oh, it's better to get natural immunity," or
Or
whatever.
just be real. That someone that just thought that it was straight up BS.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you use, I hate to put it this way, but if you use your common sense, there's a lot of things that didn't make sense about it from the very beginning, and you would have seen the signs, you would have seen the indicators. I'll give you a simple example. I know someone that when it first happened, they said, "You know what? I don't want to wear this stupid mask. I'm going to get the vaccine." Boom, got the vaccine. Then they switched up the rules. Then they're like, oh, you know what? You still have to wear the mask.
Yeah.
And they told us that you weren't going to have to do X, Y, and Z if you did this. You did it. You still had to do it plus some. Then
Yeah.
they changed the rules again. Now you can get it and you can spread it. So you have to get the vaccine. So then you go, so what's the point of taking it if I'm
Yeah.
going to get it and spread it? It's,
Exactly.
you sit down and think about it, and at some point you have to put your foot down and go, this doesn't make sense. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that it just exposes how fake they are.
Yeah.
You know, in
Absolutely.
1912, with what did they call that? The Spanish flu,
Is it the bird? Yeah, Spanish bird flu, something like
Spanish
that.
or bird flu, or something like that. They tried that whole mask thing back then, and it didn't work. People died from pneumonia at that time, and we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Fauci came out and said there's no need for a mask in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. He changed his mind. Now we have to wear a damn mask. And everybody's like, okay.
I think that's probably one of the things where it's like the people that just said or just put their trust in it 100%. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's just again because like we talked about before, it's the manipulation. It's a long cycle, right? You go through it your whole life, and if you don't know manipulation is happening, then yeah, things like that you're
Dude,
gonna believe.
I really do think that they're doing psychological experiments, social psychological experiments, whatever you want to call
Mhm.
them. And they throw things out like this to see, what the percentage is there, or there's some statistician
Yeah.
going, okay, out of 50 million people, this many fell for it or went along with it, and they're
Hmm.
just testing us. They're testing us to see, you know, how much of their BS, we'll just blindly accept and go with. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. What they can get away with.
yeah. I I heard this little snippet on social media. It was kind of like a statistic. It's what is Gen Z? I'm not hip to all the different things.
Gen Z is, I think, is it born after the 2000s? I
Okay,
think.
so let's just say Gen Z, born after the 2000s, in the 21st century. Let's say that everybody born in the 21st century. I heard that most of those people would just rather be in a bubble and not deal with anything,
Hmm.
rather than fight or protest or do anything about the situation. They would rather just curl up in a ball and just accept whatever comes.
Hmm.
And I think that's what I'm talking about with the social experiments, is to see how many people they get to that point
Hmm.
where we just curl up in a ball and say it is what it is and just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Gen, just to kind of give you the exact range, Gen Z is 97 to 2013.
Yeah, okay.
So that's
Makes sense.
the range there. Um, but yeah, I mean, especially, like you said, Fauci had said, don't use masks. Masks don't work. Then he changed his mind, right? He said, wear the mask. And then the other thing was, and I think this one was more of, I think they committed to this one because they're so anti-Trump, was the lab leak theory, or the belief that, okay, this sickness, this whatever, came from a lab. It leaked. It was man-made.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump was one of the ones that almost from the get was saying, yeah, it originated from China, from a lab. And again, when they show their fakeness and all that, they start triggering people and make it about racism or whatever
Mm-hmm.
other fancy word they want to throw out there.
Well,
But
they
it's
have to. They have to, because So he came out from the gate. I remember. Um, a reporter even asked him, "How do you know this?" He goes, "We have all the documents, but I can't tell you about it." And of course, we talked about it before in our conversations. Is that this isn't this is literally a war that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
but it's an information war. It's they call it a fifth generation warfare,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about later on that make sense about the fifth generation warfare because you'll see the patterns. So for for every action, there's a reaction. So when you're going into war, you're reacting to what the what the other side is doing
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And if you think about it, so Trump said, "We have the documents, we know, but we can't tell you." So that means that it's classified, but they got the scoop on them. They know what they're doing, or
Mm-hmm.
they know what their game plan is, right? So what do they have to do? They can't just go, okay, well, you obviously know that that's what it is, and that's what is happening. They have to come up and have you know a story to back up whatever agenda they're trying to push.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but the bottom line is that it was created. There's emails that are coming out. That there was a scientist that emailed Fauci, and he says this virus looks man-made, and all of a sudden he gets a promotion. The person that emailed him gets a promotion,
Mm-hmm.
and he's out of the picture. Bottom out, straight up. I mean, that's the only conclusion that you can make.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of signs. Fauci came out before Trump even took office. Remember, we were talking about this?
Oh yeah.
And he was like, this president is going to have to deal with a pandemic.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
basically outlining exactly what happened in the future. He knew what was coming.
Yeah, because like you said, that was like if you get it, it's on Instagram. A lot of people were posting it, and it's because he says that the administration will. It's not like the administration might. Based on his, he could have basically said based on history. The odds of a pandemic hitting us soon. Is likely, or you know what I mean. Kind of worded it different, but the way he worded it was like he knew it was going to happen. And I'm sure he did because he was also, I didn't really get to look into it today, but I saw, or it might be what you were talking about, how he was emailing somebody about basically to, to say that, no, it's not a lab leak, even though they knew it was. Um, but, so I'm sharing this screen just in case if it's from CNN. It's very liberal, and even they got a story on the FBI director saying that COVID-19 likely resulted from a lab incident. So it's not just us saying it; it's being reported out there. The FBI director is now stating that that's kind of their conclusion. So again, like we said, like you said at the beginning, it's like conspiracy theories that came conspiracy facts. And the lab leak was something that right off the bat was downplayed by politicians, the media, and then they get their celebrities to start the late night shows and all that to start trying to disprove that, right? It's like when what's the name of that guy that went on Colbert? Who's that actor? Or he used to be a comedian, but he went on Stephen Colbert and he was saying that uh, that it was a leak, and then Colbert's trying to like, well, how do you know this and that? And he's like, well, it we can ask the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You know what I mean? Like basically, like I forget what his name is, but he's saying it there, and then those little puppets like Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, they go out and they just spit out that narrative. Like,
Well, yeah, I think Jimmy Kimmel was trying to say someone was like a tinfoil hat.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, there you go,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. And there was some other football player. I didn't read it. I didn't see the tweet, but I heard about it. Is that tell me that he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Aaron Rodgers was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Jimmy Kimmel, or what's the other late
That was
night guy?
it was Jimmy Kimmel.
It was Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, it was
He
Jimmy.
goes, well, he's a tinfoil wearing guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
And then another football player responds to that and goes, tell me you're on Jeffrey Epstein's client list without telling me that you're in his list.
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty cool.
But yeah, like but that example too, right? Jimmy Kimmel just going with the narrative. Still, it's like, bro, there's so much already out there to discredit that narrative that it's like, just stop it, man. Like, be a free thinker, be an independent person, man. Like, get over it already.
They can't. It's
Yeah.
they're already too far. Dude, they're past the edge. They're off the cliff. There's no turning back. Even if they wanted to turn back, they're off the reservoir, man.
It's
they have
like
no other option.
it's like if they're like hanging on the cliff, right? And like there's no other way, right? It's either they're gonna fall to the end, or they're holding on, and you could be right there, like, give me your hand, man. Like, I'll help you up.
No.
Like, no, you're a white supremacist.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm brown.
Yeah, Daniel Reyes, you're a white supremacist.
I can't take your hand. But like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how, like, it sounds ridiculous, but that's what it is.
That's the truth. You know what's funny is Gloria and I were watching Chris Rock's
We saw
Netflix, the Netflix one. Dude, it sucked. It sucked. But when it got to pro-choice, pro-life,
mm-hmm.
Do you remember that part of the bit?
Yeah. So okay. So when he starts talking about that, at first he's like he's saying the word abortion, right? Mm-hmm. And then he keeps saying, "I'm on your side," But then out of nowhere, he switches it to kill babies or killing babies, mm-hmm. And then you could hear the crowd kind of like, "Oh, like, you know what I mean?" Like, but I don't like. In my mind, I'm trying to like, was he doing that for the effect of like, let's keep it real? This is what it is. So now I'm gonna call it what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know if it was just him trying to be like, in a sense, I'm telling you what it is, but I'm gonna try to be funny about it, which is, I think it's not really funny, but what did you think?
It's for the shock effect, kind of. It's like comedians. Sometimes you say things that are unexpected just for the shock factor. Mm-hmm. But this one was too calculated, and the setup was perfect. Like you said, he's like, pro-choice, pro-life. Mm-hmm. Pro-choice, pro-life. Well, I'm pro-choice. I'm with you. And then he makes a joke about he's paid for so many abortions himself, and all this other stuff. And then he goes, but I have 2 daughters. So a part of me is pro-life and a part of me is pro-choice. Mm-hmm. So I want them to be able to make their own decisions. So I'm pro-choice. But then when he shocked everybody was when he goes, but let's not get it twisted. It's killing babies.
Yeah.
And that's when I think he just trolled the holy crap out of all of them.
I think that's what he was doing. And obviously, again, when you hear someone talking like that, it's like, it's not funny. You know what I mean? Like the whole abortion bit that he had, like all that, like, could have done without it. But the way he did it made me believe, like, all right, he did it with like you said, to troll, right? because you can hear, like, if you watch it, you know, if you want to, if you watch it, when he says, let's don't get it twisted, it's killing babies, like you hear the crowd react, like they got shocked, like, whoa, like kind of like don't say it like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, how dare you? You know, we don't say that. We don't call them babies, and we're
yeah,
not killing them. You know, it's
yeah,
not a life. So,
exactly. Because he didn't say fetus.
mm,
He could have easily, like, because he kept saying, "I'm on your side," right? Um, so he could have just easily said, like, you know, aborting fetuses or cells, whatever, you
yeah,
know, super pro-choice people claim it is. He said straight up what it is. So I think we're kind of like in the same, like, that's what I thought. I didn't like hearing it either because, like, I know what it is, right? Us, we know abortion is killing a baby. Like,
mm,
we know that's what it is. You know, we don't,
yeah,
to us it's not a joke, right? So I understand if people don't want to see that or don't want to hear it or got upset at that. Like, I totally get it.
yeah.
But I
But
think
you know why I was laughing is because he was telling them to their faces,
mhm,
looking at the camera and everything, telling them straight up what it was.
yeah.
And he took it a step further when he goes, you know what? I don't want to stop at the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. It's like, you know, until they're 4 years old or something crazy like that, or until they get their first report card.
Mhm.
And it's, see, when people start talking about that, it's like that law that they were trying to pass in the East Coast where, you know, you could have an
Oh
abortion
yeah.
up until the point of conception.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy. But the way that he set it up and said it, you know, the bit,
Hmm.
I was laughing at that. I was laughing that he was trolling them to their face.
Yeah, that's what
It
I was
was
kind
on
of.
Netflix too, on
Yeah,
top of it.
that's what I was kind of like in my mind. Like, okay, he didn't just say it to say it. Like, I feel like he had like a purpose behind it, you know. But you know, people are gonna get outraged, right, one way or the other, which kind of proves, you know, what was the name of his special, Selective Outrage,
Yeah,
which,
selective outrage. There you go. And
which
if you get outraged about that, then you're making this point about selective outrage.
yeah, because that's how I look at it. Again, you know, if you're just kind of talking about abortion and like joking about it, like, you know, like it's funny to you, kind of thing. Okay, like I don't think that's right. But in this sense, I think he was trying to do some, like, make a point.
Yeah,
So
I
and
agree 1,000%.
and that's kind of because, and the only reason I say that is because how he kept saying, "I'm on your side."
Yeah,
You know? So it's kind of like I think how you guys think, right? And then he flips it and he tells them what it is, but it's like, I'm still on your side, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what I felt it was too when I watched it.
yeah. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
like I said, I
you know,
don't.
well, like we talked before, man. Comedy is supposed to push boundaries, right? It really, like, comedy is supposed to push boundaries. It might have to like make you uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, it's a joke, right?
Yeah,
But I also get people are gonna be like, well, you know, it's not something to joke about. I get that too, but I think if you kind of put that aside and you kind of just you can hear the crowd reaction that makes you think, okay, he did that on purpose, not just to be funny, but to actually, like, this is what I'm really saying, and it's
yeah,
like people don't hear it that way. I think that's the problem, right? People just use abortion, pro-choice. You know, pro-choice sounds
sounds like a good thing.
yeah, it sounds like a good thing, but if you say killing babies, okay, that's a whole different tune, right? It's a different.
Well, that's why he was saying pro-life, pro-choice. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
like pro-life, pro-murder. So
yeah,
it it's the wording. It's all in the vocabulary. It's all in the verbiage. It, it's part of the manipulation.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think the the first couple of jokes when he's talking about the Lululemon, about the store says, no racism, no this,
oh
no that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't give a I want some racism in the pants.
That's true, man. I'm gonna if I want to buy something, if it's a good product, shut up. I don't care.
Yeah,
It's like
nobody cares.
I'm gonna buy it. Don't tell me that you give back and all this other stuff. It's like it's still a $100 yoga pant, and it's like you're ripping us off.
What do you say? You're anti-poor people.
Yeah,
You say you hate
anti-poor people.
somebody. You hate poor people. But I thought the jokes at the beginning were a little bit funny. That one. Then he did another one. When the one thing that was like, come on, man, where he said Republicans are liars, or like they lie all the time. But then he said, but Democrats, like they just admit the truth. Like what do you say? They just
No, he
admit,
says they leave key points out.
yeah.
And
But
it's
it's
like
like it's like, isn't it the same thing?
same shit. Yeah.
But or maybe again that's him trying to his way of trying to prove a point. Like they both lie, which yeah, I mean we could agree they both to a certain extent lie.
He was definitely playing both sides. It's kind of smart the way that he was doing it. I mean, if he did the whole trans thing too.
Oh yeah,
He said, "I'm not against it, but my brother would be, and this is what my brother would say."
yeah.
And then he says
I laughed at that part too.
he says the whole bit, right? And it's like you want to get like the same people that got their outrage from Chappelle would have an outrage about him saying all of the things
Yeah,
that he said about it, but it wasn't him saying it. He's saying that his brother would say it, so they can't get mad at him for it. So yeah, it was smart. I think it was I think he was trolling.
I think it was too when he goes, "Hey, she's your daddy."
Yeah,
I laughed so hard at that one.
yeah. That was
But you know what? It's funny. It's funny because um, we were watching a little bit of the basketball game yesterday. It was I think the Warriors and the Lakers, right? And they show LeBron. I think he's talking to Denzel Washington, right?
mhm.
But when he's talking to him, he's going like this, so that you can't see his lips moving. But he's
Mhm.
talking to Denzel Washington, and and we're like, this like, well, why is he covering his mouth when he talks? He's like stupid, right? And I was like, that's because when LeBron James isn't in cameras, he's saying some shit that he's not saying when he's on camera. So I was like, they talk different on camera. That's why when he's like this talking, he doesn't want people to read his lips because he's just talking normally. He doesn't have to put on that woke front. And it's like Chris Rock kind of had the joke about the guy that did prison and that he got the job, and he was like talking about like how he loves it here and this and that, and then he told him, "Hey, it's me." Like,
Oh yeah.
like talk normal, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like that's exactly what we were saying when we seen they did talking and covering his mouth. It's like, yeah, they don't. It's a front. When they're on camera, they know exactly what to say, how to say it. But when they're on their own, no cameras rolling, you think they don't talk like? Come on, we talked about it before. Every culture has their way.
Yeah.
You think they don't talk like that? Like, come on, man. So I don't know. That just kind of reminded me of that. We were talking about the Chris Rock thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, they're all fake. It just goes back to exposing how fake they are.
Yeah, it's manipulative. But yeah, we saw it. We watched it yesterday.
So
It was all
you
right.
guys did too? We did. We
Yeah.
were probably watching it at the same time.
But again, it's how can I put this? Free speech is free speech.
Hmm.
So if you didn't like what he said, whatever, don't go and cancel him Don't go and shut them down. Don't be so damn sensitive. You know what I mean? Don't be basically creating cancel culture from the other side, because then
Yeah.
that'll happen too. So we're
Well, you could do what I did, all the other comedy specials that we were watching with other comedians, is give them 5 minutes. If they suck, boom, switch it.
yeah.
We were about to turn him off until he did that bit. That bit. It's like it's sucking, and then boom, drop that bombshell on it. I was like, all right, this is kind of funny now. So
It's all humor, it's again, people can't be that sensitive, right?
no,
So
man, it's where you start getting into communism when you start, doing that, and it's not necessarily it's selective
outrage.
outrage because it's like someone will do something that's on the wrong side of the aisle, right? And
Hmm.
then they get canceled. But someone does the same thing on the other side of the aisle. Nothing to see here. Nothing happened. And you
Yeah,
keep going. That's called communism,
yeah.
you know?
And it's kind of like what I was saying earlier when we were talking before. It's like you could be outraged about the special, right? But then you post all kinds of trans videos. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's like, come on, like you're being selective here. Like if if you're really like against it, I don't. To me, I don't see why people have to repeatedly have to post and share
Mm-hmm.
the trans stuff. I think one time is enough. People get the point. Because the only place I see all those trans twerking and all that stuff is on conservative pages, and it's like I'm not looking for that. I don't go online to see that shit. I don't go in person to those things. Like
Yeah.
I have zero interest in watching that. I know it's happening. I don't know. Maybe I'm. I don't know. I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking that way, but it's like I don't need to see it all the time. I know it's happening. I'm avoiding it. I'm not putting my kids in that position. Hopefully, other people are aware, but I don't know. That's a whole nother thing too.
Yeah, I think it's we have to be careful when we do that because we're normalizing it at the same time,
Yeah, yeah,
by just showing it all the time or making it's like we're making a big deal about it, but at the same time, um, we're encouraging the distribution of it at the same time.
it's like
And it's like,
you're just doing it for that shock value to get I guess, the attention, right?
oh, the attention, yeah.
Posted this. Look at me, I'm outraged at this, but like my page or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that because you're against it, but then again, you're out there promoting it. So, which one is it? Are you are
Yeah.
you against it or are you promoting it? It's like that's not promoting.
It gets to the point where it gets a little blurred. I don't know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah,
You saved all these on your phone.
yeah. Remember, we were saying then you start getting into the algorithm, and then you start just getting all kinds of weird posts on your phone.
Instagram's gonna think, okay, this guy likes this.
Yeah,
That's all you're gonna get. That's your suggestions now. Just and maybe that's how they catch all of them. I don't know. I don't know. But
I hope so. I mean, if that's what they're doing, good.
I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy. Um, but oh man, yeah, a lot has happened. Since we last since we last had that last episode with Art. Um, you know.
Well, the China balloon happened.
Oh yeah, that
That.
that was all. I think that was a distraction for something, right? And it might have been because yeah, at that time they were talking about something about the Epstein list being released or something like that.
Well,
And I
you
was,
got all the court cases, Kerry Lake,
mm,
you know, that's moving forward with the election fraud and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of things. The Hunter Biden stuff is going on.
Hmm.
Ukraine is going on. COVID,
Trains are
COVID.
going everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that I think that's part of the distraction too, and that's what I'm saying is that going back to what I was saying earlier, a lot of people think that this is like a joke or it's not serious,
Hmm.
but we are in we are in a war in the sense that there's different sides battling right now. Just
Hmm.
pay attention to the trains derailing and chemical spills and farms burning up. Down over here where I'm at, one of the fertilizer plants just caught on fire.
Mm.
What caught on fire? Pet feed, fertilizer, stuff like that. It, it's like if you pay attention, you'll see the patterns. You'll see the patterns.
Hmm.
Water got contaminated.
Mm.
They've been trying to um, contaminate the water for a long time. We remember Flint,
Hmm.
Michigan, with their water situation and everything. Over here where I'm at, they sent you. If you don't pay attention, they sent you a damn letter from the city. The water is
Water.
not safe to drink.
Wow.
You know, um, so it's funny because in the first paragraph it says that um, it's nothing to worry about, right? And
Hmm.
then on the second paragraph, it's like, oh, but if you consume so much of it, then it is something to worry about, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, don't worry about it, worry about it. So if you just read the first part of the letter, we're good. Keep on drinking that water, you know, boil those, you know,
Hmm.
pasta or whatever you're going to do
With
with
that
the faucet water and stuff like that. And and look at what they're doing right now. It's like you tell me that it doesn't seem like certain things are being attacked. Come
water.
on.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, right? I think we talked about it before. It's like if you're living somewhere and they're doing that, right? We have issues with the water, this and that, the electricity's going off, all this crap. It's like these people in government, these institutions that are supposed to be that gain from our taxes. You know what I mean? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, why is everything falling apart? Why am I paying more and more taxes and everything continues to fall apart? Like we've said before, Gavin Newsom says, "Oh, I spend this on this and this and this and this," but it's like, why is it worse? You
Yeah.
know? And it's like that's unacceptable. And I think it's got to get to the point where people just, like you said when we were talking about the COVID thing, right? If you're not awake now, it's like, well, what is it? What is it gonna take? You know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's mind blowing.
It's insane. We were driving somewhere and the roads were so bad. Oh, nation's capital, Sacramento.
Mhm.
I was in my truck and I was just driving down the street and it was so annoying driving down that street. It was just like I felt like my truck was gonna fall apart while I was driving down the street. It was like worse than a dirt road going like nowhere, you know. And it's like I felt like just pounding the dash. It's like, where are my tax dollars going? You know, it's like we
Yeah.
looked up, what's supposed to pay for the, maintenance of the roads and everything like that, and that obviously that money is not going towards that. So where is that money going? You know, I want to know now. I'm like,
Yeah. And you know
so
what, man? Like the other day, I was driving up to Vacaville, so I go through Stockton, right, 4 to the 5, and it's like, what is it? Is it the what is it? There's some water there, and there's a lot of homeless people. It's
oh
not a
yeah,
river. Is it just basically part of the delta,
it's like a little. It's
canal or
it's not
something?
part of the delta, but it's water that streams down to the levees in the area and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, because it's like I was driving by and it's like, yeah, dude, there was all kinds of garbage on top of that water. It was crazy. Like, and then
It's an
you said that right
embarrassment.
now about the water getting that notice. It's like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, like you see that, all that garbage floating in that water. You see all
but
those tents and all that along the side of it, and it's like, all right, well, they're obviously doing all their business in there. They're throwing all their trash in the water, so it's like it's gross. It's
we're in
crazy.
the 21st century. 21st century, and with as much money as this government has
Mm-hmm.
that we're sending to other countries in billions,
Oh God, yeah,
we're, we're we're a joke as American citizens to put up with this. Straight up, I'm just saying, and I
yeah.
count myself in it too. So yeah, it's pretty bad, man. And one of the things that I heard, I haven't looked into it too much, well, I haven't at all, but I heard is that everybody knows that Bill Gates is buying up all kinds of farmland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And something about water treatment too. So they're coming up with, they're teaming up with the EPA for water regulations. And isn't it funny that there's all kinds of contamination of water now and all these other things going on? I wouldn't be surprised if the EPA rolls out with some new regulations on drinking water or farming water or some other BS like that.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, Bill Gates has got his mitts, on that too. You know,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. It's he's investing in what do you call it? It says Paul-based water treatment and infection control company. The billionaire bought into Ecolab in a big way over the past decade, spending more than $200 million to secure about 10% of the company. So it's a water treatment and infection control company. So it's like, huh? Well, what's up? What happened with computers, man?
there's more money and other stuff.
It's crazy. See, yeah, that dude, Bill Gates. I don't know, man. I don't trust that guy at all. Like, I don't
No,
understand.
he's straight up said that we're overpopulated, and by a certain date, the population has to
Decrease.
decrease. And he's openly talked about vaccinations and all kinds of other stuff. So uh, I think the dude's being honest on what he wants to do. I mean, you listen to his talks, and he's straight up saying that we're overpopulated and we have to do something about it. And if
Mm-hmm.
they do a good job, the population will decrease by a certain amount and everything. So you tell me, what is he trying to do?
Yeah, and it's like I don't know if you Jordan Peterson was on Rogan a few weeks ago, and he was kind of talking about how you know how like I guess the way you can put it is like common sense people, right? How can you trust the same people that are telling you about all this climate disaster and all that, and they're the same people talking about population control? So it's like,
Mhm.
how can you trust somebody that's telling you both things at once? And it's like, it's crazy, but yeah, like how can you? The people that are telling you the world's gonna, you know, end because of climate are the same people that are saying we're overpopulated. So I gotta trust this same person with the same thoughts on solving the issues. It's like, no, you're if you think the world is populated and you think people are causing climate change, well, guess what your solution is gonna be?
Get rid of the people.
Get rid of people. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe people haven't heard it that way, but like, yeah, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, people, how can you trust these guys? How can you trust that guy? You can't at all. And then that's not even to go with like all the supposed vaccination experiments that he's done in Africa, right? I think
Yeah, yeah.
so. I mean, Hey, people.
And we were watching a movie, and
Mhm,
it was about it was based in the 70s here in the Central Valley, and it was about farmers, right?
mhm,
So this couple moved to this part of the valley where um, the husband got a promotion and he was kind of managing the ranch, right?
mhm,
And there was no kids there, okay, and they just started doing, started working with pesticides and things like that, right?
mhm,
So I didn't know this. I thought the movie was going to be about how dangerous pesticides were and are,
mhm,
which is true. Okay, that would the assumption that the pesticides had something to do with women not being able to have kids, right? Not being able to get pregnant or give birth, or go through the full term to give birth.
mhm,
I thought that's what the storyline was going to be, but it wasn't. What it was is that this doctor was sterilizing the women.
mhm.
That's why there weren't any kids around. And I know that this movie, you know, it's not necessarily exactly what happened in history at that time,
Mhm.
but it pulls from, the stories that factually happened at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
dramatization, right?
yeah.
But the point is that there was people like trying to I don't know what to call it, genocide
Yeah.
or I mean, there's no other word for it. But
Well, it's based on what you said, right? They're controlling the population if they're sterilizing the women.
yeah,
Hmm.
so this is nothing new.
Well, think about it. Think about it. I'm kind of going to go into another thing, but kind of related. It's like, well, why? Because I had said the same people take climate change. We're overpopulated. What else are they pushing? All this real crazy LGBT agenda that, what's going to happen if you have a guy, two guys
Well,
together?
look,
They're not going
this
to create.
this isn't gonna create a baby.
Exactly.
It's
You
just
said
a
you did.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, that LGBTQ agenda just to me is like another avenue for depopulation because there is no way a gay couple, two gay men are going to have naturally a kid, right?
Mhm.
There's no way two women are going to have a kid because that's just basic science, biology. It's not how it works. And what does that agenda do? It produces less of a population. So it's like now, kind of when you're saying that, it makes me think of like, I kind of thought this before already, but like it takes my mind to that okay, that agenda is also part of this whole controlling the population thing.
Well, okay, so we're talking about Bill Gates right now, right?
Mhm.
Melinda Gates. Look up and see who her parents were. I believe that they're the ones that started Planned Parenthood. And then we can go through those rabbit holes of a conspiracy theory that's a conspiracy fact now.
Mm. Let's see. Do, do, do. So her parents were Elaine and Raymond Joseph French. Let's see. Du, du, du. Hmm. Her dad. Was it her dad? What is he? Joseph French. You said what did you say that they were part of? Which one?
I think her mom or someone on her side of the family started or funded Planned Parenthood.
Mm. Let me look it up this way.
And what I thought Chris Rock was going to do when he was telling that joke is the audience was, the majority were black.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have busted out a statistic that the majority of abortions are of black babies, dude, I would have stood up and clapped if he would have dropped that one on him right there while he was on stage
Yeah,
telling the joke.
I can't find anything on that. The only thing I found was apparently Bill and Melinda Gates have a what do you call it? A foundation called Family Planning 2030. So, so there's that. You know, it doesn't really. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't trust these people at all, right? Hey, I don't know what they're into all this. Yeah, no, they're probably looking to sterilize people. You know, but it's just it's crazy how all that is. Like you said, you could go down a huge rabbit hole trying to find, how all those people are connected to certain things, and how at the end of the day it's like all Jesus, it's all population control on that end, right? Because I mean, even if he's, let's say if he's donating, which I could Google it, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm 99.9% sure Bill Gates donates to Planned Parenthood.
Well, I just found I had it backwards. So Bill Gates' father, William Gates Sr., worked on the board of Planned Parenthood.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, this it's self-explanatory, man. It's self-explanatory, and the connection, the ties are undeniable. And you can only come to one conclusion. Or if you're blinded and you're naive to everything that's in front of your face, then you can have your own conclusion as well. It's all good.
Yeah, that's what we said, right? Like, as long as you feel like you did your research and that's where you landed, or whatever it is, what it is, that's where you landed. We can't. Well, what can we do, right? It's up to you to either wake up or keep on sleepwalking, if you will. There's to kind of switch it up. There's two other things I saw today that I thought were interesting. The first one was was it like 4 people that got kidnapped in Mexico? That was kind of, I had to look into it more. I just saw it today, but that seems crazy about the U.S. citizens getting kidnapped in Mexico, and they have it like on camera too while it's happening. So we'll see what comes out of that. Like kind of like what you were saying earlier, right? If we don't exhibit any strength, so we'll see what happens. But we gave up a Russian arms dealer for a basketball player, so we'll see what's up.
Yeah, an anti-American American basketball player.
Yeah,
go figure that one out.
Yeah, and then kind of right before we came on right now, I had seen Tucker had, because I guess they gave him a lot of the J6 videos.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he released the one where it's like that guy that got the shaman, the guy that had like the Viking helmet and face paint. And there's a video, and he's walking with like 2 or 3 cops, and they're just kind of walking around the Capitol, inside the building, and it's not like, you would think that guy went in there and was just kind of breaking in, crushing doors and just making his way into the way the media put it, right, and the way some of these politicians put it. You would think he was in there smashing doors, looking to kill someone. It's like, no, he's walking in through the building. It's like he's got escort, like
Mm-hmm.
police escort through the building, and it's like, all right, well, it was another one of those things where it's like a lot of us were like, yeah, that wasn't, there was nothing violent about what happened on January 6th, right? Was it something that like maybe people were like, probably shouldn't have done that, but like to say it was violent, a crazy insurrection, the way they put it, it's like it wasn't that, you know?
It's a setup. It's
Yeah.
okay. So here's another conspiracy theory for you: is that okay? So when they're they're staging uprisings in other countries, they have antagonists, right? So they make it seem like and these are real operations. They have movies about them, about CIA planning this and taking action on these plans and being point on them. Okay, so people cannot say that this does not happen because it happens. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
is that when they stage a coup or insurrection, whatever the heck you want to call it, against the government, what they do is they fund it. They got the money, they get the equipment, they got the resources, period.
Mm-hmm.
Then with that, you have to get a group of people that are gonna follow you so that make it seem like it's a grassroots, something natural that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So what you're talking about right now is that when they're setting that up, there's there's a group of people that are honestly just, you know, exercising their rights in a peaceful protest, but on the back there's someone with a brick,
Mm-hmm.
right, ready to be the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And from the back they launch it over and there's the spark. Then everything kicks off. If you got other people being antagonists too, there it goes. And
Yeah.
they got signals. And one of the things that they're talking about these videos is what you just brought up. But most importantly, see, Congress is smart because they want the videos before that happened, days before that happened, weeks before that happened,
Mm-hmm.
because they've got a feeling that they're going to see videos of certain people going out there and planning all of this out. How
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be start that spark, like the fire,
Mm-hmm.
be the antagonist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what comes out.
Yeah, because again, it's like, because this also came out after the fact, right? That
Mm-hmm.
Trump had requested extra National Guardsmen at the Capitol, but they declined it,
Well,
right?
who declined it?
Nancy Pelosi declined it.
There you go.
So it's like, yeah, like you're right. You probably will see people, scheming out there, and the crazy thing is, like, they did the whole January 6th committee. It was all BS, but it's like the people that were on that J6 panel, which was what Schiff, uh, Adam Kissinger, what's that one, uh, Liz Cheney, uh, I forget who else.
Well, wasn't he on those two?
Swalwell, I think Lofgren. So I think there's another guy, but all those right there, they all were in Congress having trials. They had access to all these videos. They had access to the guy just being walked around by Capitol Police. And it's like they're making their whole charade on tax dollar for what they already know is false. It's it's insane. It's insane because they knew, they saw those videos, but they're still selling it to everybody as this crazy event that was super deadly, that they were, they were in danger. And it's like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. There was police with all of them like the entire time. And it's crazy to me. But that's, again, Adam Schiff, he's still in Congress. He's not on he's not on his committee, but he's still there, He's still, and he's going to run for senator of California because Feinstein ain't going to run. So it's like, it sucks because we're in California, and I hope people have seen what kind of person Adam Schiff is, so that he doesn't become our senator. You know what I mean? But it's just, Eric Swalwell's still there. All those people are still there, and they straight up lied to everybody and put on a show.
I think their day is coming. Look at Lightfoot. I know she's only a mayor, but she was, she was out there. Pretty. I mean, Chicago's a popular, city. So,
well, not Lightfoot. You got, what's his name? Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo. They got rid of him too, and he was like the darling for the media. Avenatti.
What did Fauci call him? He's the model, the gold standard of how COVID should have been handled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, honestly, I think COVID, like I said in the beginning, if pre-COVID you weren't awake, post-COVID, if one eye isn't opening already,
you start rubbing your eyes.
Yeah, you need to wipe the salmon off your eyes because yeah.
It's crazy, man. I mean, like we said before, hopefully, I think the elections that happened in last year, the midterms and all that, I think it nudged a little bit in the right direction. So I'm hoping by the time we get to 2024, more stuff ends up dropping because it will. There's going to be other stuff that we've already said is a certain way, but right now we're the conspiracy theorists. But there's other things that are going to drop that we're going to be right about. It's just almost guaranteed at this point.
Time is tricky because with time, the truth comes out. And as more time goes by, and with today's technology, the truth is coming out faster and faster. So I think what's going to happen is that, okay, this whole COVID pandemic served its purpose. It did what it did. Mail-in ballots, things of that nature, stuff like that. So, we're coming up against 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And what's next? Seems like war. We didn't talk about war. Now it's like they're really talking about World War III. So
and that's it should be another eye opener, because when Trump won and was going to become the president, what were they saying? Trump's going to take us into World War III.
He's a maniac.
He's a maniac. He shouldn't have the nuclear codes. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, he ended up being the president that started 0 new wars in his first term, which had never been done before. So it's like, and then this guy right here, which is the adult or the answer, is like has us on the verge of World War III. Mm-hmm. But nothing. You don't hear nothing from it. You're just seeing all the propaganda with Ukraine. He goes out there, they record themselves walking along Ukraine. You hear sirens that haven't been blown in weeks. It's just propaganda.
Yep. It's all a show. So, hopefully we don't go into war, because what's going to happen is we go into war, and then there's special rules for 2024 presidential elections, and another opportunity to do some funny business there. But, hopefully that doesn't happen. I know people. I can honestly say that I hear more people saying, "I don't give a damn about Ukraine."
Yeah.
That we've got our own issues here, and
Hmm.
we got to take care of them here. So
Yeah, I second that. I hear a lot of people that say it's not our battle. I mean, I don't, you know, I don't know if that sounds inhumane or something, but it's not our battle. And from what I hear, there's a lot of people in Ukraine that want to be part of Russia, anyways. So I don't know.
that's exactly what it is. A lot of people think that this Ukrainian war started now, but this actually started, I believe, it was either 2013 or 2014 when the government in Ukraine was overthrown, and it's
Hmm.
been a war since then. So there's again, we're being lied to. We're not being told the entire truth, um, and there's all kinds of shady
Yeah,
business dealings going in Ukraine. And if you don't think that the Hunter Biden laptop is real and all the shady business with China and Ukraine aren't real, well, let's wait another year and we'll find out the truth. We'll talk in a
right.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it'll drop, and then just to kind of, you know, the thing for me that kind of with Ukraine makes me go, yeah, like I really don't care, is the way that the Democrats or those politicians when they were impeaching Trump the second time around for the phone call
Hmm.
with Zelensky, like the way that they couldn't take Zelensky's word on the phone call, but now all of a sudden can take Zelensky's word on a war. That's what makes me go, okay, no, this ain't our problem. Because if you can't trust the man or show that you trust the man at his word on something minor, right? But you want to trust his word on everything about a war, like nah, there's something going on there, and
Yeah.
it makes you just like nah, it's not our problem. That's just how I feel about it. You know, hopefully innocent people aren't dying, but at the end of the day, we got our issues here, right? We've ignored our issues for too long, and we're just kind of we just get like the sugar coated version, right? Like, oh, okay, we're doing this, or we got that, or there's other priorities, right? It's like we don't even have an administration that's qualified, right? Like they don't hire people based on qualifications, they hire people based on identity.
Hmm.
It's like we don't even have what could be the best of the best working at the positions that are there, working those positions. So it's like it's a joke. It's all a joke. The country's deteriorating, every day, and like you said, right? We got soft, right? As a country, we just allow it. So
Yeah. Good times create weak men. So
yeah,
hopefully, right now, going through rough times creates some strong men
yeah,
to get us out of this. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see what's up then. But yeah, I mean, it's good. There's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. A lot that's gone on, but we'll get back on track. Like I said, we had a bunch of stuff with work and things outside of work at home that kind of just make it tough sometimes. But we didn't go anywhere. We're still here.
No, we're good.
It was a little vacation, but we're back.
Yeah. Unwanted vacation.
But yeah, but we'll be back. We'll be back soon, and we'll work on seeing who else we could get on this. I think it was cool to have a guest on. So
Yeah.
we'll see who else.
That was really cool.
Even if it's hard again, well, hey, come back on.
Yeah.
And tell
Yeah.
us what's happening down there.
He seems like a fun guy too. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I asked him. I was like, "Hey, when's a good time to go to Arizona?" he's like, probably after the summer. I was like, all right. I was like,
Oh yeah, it's probably
is October
scorching.
a good time? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's when the weather's good. I was like, all right, well, we'll see.
Nice.
But anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch everybody on the next one. Peace.
Bye.